in the playoffs. Should the Ravens be happy for another shot at the Bills?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Ravens, whoever's on the schedule, bring it on. And this one, we get a chance to get a little get back early, right? Let them know, this not last year. All right, we're playing a great team. We can send a message to the league that we're back and we're ready to rumble. And if we lose, we got 17 weeks to get back together. So it'll show us where we're at and what we have to work on. So, yeah, I'm good with it.
Look, you're naturally going to get and feel some type of a way when you got outed by a team in the postseason and you get to get them right away starting the next season. However, it's so early in the season. Like, nobody is saying, oh, this is going to determine who's going to come out of the AFC. Now, it might determine seeding or tiebreakers, different things like that. Totally understand that. But is it get back? I mean, yeah, we saw them thump them in the regular season last year.
That's right. They thumped.
Nobody talks about that game.
Nobody
25 points.
Exactly. So it's,
I think it's bad for Baltimore, just like I thought it was bad for Baltimore last year. And I think it's multiple reasons. One is it is not, if beating them in the regular season is not revenge for beating them in the postseason. So your gain your gain is minimal of it. Having the team having to go to the place where your season ended last year against that team, and that being how this season, and it ended, if people, kind of forget the details of that game, the Bills had control, and then the Ravens made that furious comeback at the end. There's obviously the drop by Mark Andrews. It ended in heartbreaking fashion. If you start your season off like that, it just is such a kick in the stomach to a degree. But then there's also this, and we don't talk about this like we do the Bengals because it's not to the same degree.
Yes.
But the Ravens are slow starters. Yeah. So the Ravens, Lamar's first year as a starter, finished 14-2. They started 2-2. And then in 2021, week 1, they lose to the Raiders. In 2022, they started 3-3. In 2023, they went 13-4. They started 3-2 with losses to Indy and Pittsburgh and then got rolling. Obviously, last year they started 0-2. So they're not historically at their best early. And this is arguably one of their 2 or 3 biggest games on their schedule because of that head-to-head tiebreaker for home field. So we knew they were playing each other. We knew it was in Buffalo. I think maybe it's positive that it's not like December in Buffalo where the elements come into play so much. I just think week 1, I'd rather flip-flop week 1 and 2 if I'm Baltimore. Give me Cleveland week 1.
Cleveland plays it tough,
and
as you know.
I know, but give me Cleveland week 1 and then Buffalo week 2.
Possibly, though, Mark Andrews could, exercise those demons again.
Sure.
Maybe I doubt he does that again, but,
Last year they started 0-2, and then was it the Cowboys week 3? I'm not to quiz you, but I remember we're facing a little bit of a must-win. They went in and crushed the guy. And I know we just assume they're unbelievable in the regular season, but Brew, I don't think this is how you wanted the schedule to break.
Schedule's tough.
Yeah, Bills, let's say you start slow. Browns play you tough. Lions, Chiefs, Texans, Rams, bye. I don't like that at all.
The plus side
it lightens up though. Yeah,
you feel like if you go 3-3,
right,
you love it. You know what I like? You feel like
because look at the Bears. We'll see. But Dolphins, we know about them, the breakdancing. Minnesota, we don't expect them to be as good. Cleveland, the Jets. Yeah. Then you get back into the division.
Okay, let's talk about this. They then transfer in to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's talk about the Ravens. Listen, the way how I view the Ravens right now, it's very binary, right? You're either an elite team, top team in the NFL, or you're not. There's no in between for me. You're the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, okay? You've been special for these last few years. You've been legitimate, like truly legitimate Super Bowl contenders that you haven't been able to obviously pull it off. And so it's like, you're either special or you're not. So when I look at a schedule like this, I'm like, yeah, it could be a little tough. Yeah, the Browns could be a tough game, division, whatever. And you got to play the Lions and the Bills and the Chiefs and the Texans, and it's like, okay. And I'm okay you losing a couple of those games, and I understand we add such weight to the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bengals for the Ravens, like those teams whenever they play each other. It's always like everyone always tries to add such insane meaning to those games, and I get it. It's fun to do that, but it's just like I won't lose any sleep over it. If they end up losing to the Chiefs or something, I'm not going to be like, oh, they just can't ever beat the Chiefs. Like, it's just a week 4 game like that won't matter as much to me. But it's just like the way how I look at it is it's like, okay, well, if let's say the Bills, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Lions are all great teams, special teams, top teams in the NFL again. Well, the Ravens better be able to win at least one of those games. If you're truly a special top team in the NFL as well, then you should be able to at least win one of those games. I don't care how early on in the schedule it is. And you certainly should be better than the Texans. And you should be better than the Rams. And then now, again, the Bears, I understand Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, I'm super high on them. But again, you're the Baltimore Ravens. You should win this game. The Dolphins, get out of here. The Vikings, essentially rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, get out of here. The Browns, you better win at least one of them games against the Browns, when you play them twice. You better at least go 1-1. You better not go 0-2. And then the Jets with Justin Fields, get out of here. The Bengals, that's always going to be a wildly fun, exciting game. So it's like, I'm just, dude, sign me up for the Baltimore Ravens versus the Bengals, Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. I'd watch that game every single day. And the Steelers, who's the quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph? What's the actual story here? And then, and then the Patriots and the Packers. So again, I just honestly, it's going to be for a handful of these teams that I look at it like through this lens. The Bills as well, and I haven't looked exactly at their schedule, or the Eagles either. But it's like anyone that says like, oh, this is a tough schedule, when I'm looking at it through the lens of a team that I'm saying, are you truly? And again, sometimes you say, oh, they're Super Bowl contenders, but there's all different variations of that. It's like, no, like you are truly a Super Bowl contender. And again, if you are, well, then it's like then whatever. The schedule is just whatever, honestly. And I don't think it's bad that they play for the Bills. I don't think it means anything for revenge. I do think players boost that up because coaches do a pretty good job of selling that to the players. You already know the Ravens, coaching staff will be like, hey, these guys ended our season. We need to start off strong. And then a lot of players do get excited and buy into that, and everyone kind of goes for it. But at the same time, you buy into it, but you also do know that it's week 1, right? You know that it's regular season, and it is wildly different. Like the Eagles lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 22, and they beat them in 23 in the regular season, and it wasn't like revenge, right? Like it meant revenge was dominating them in the following Super Bowl. Like that's what the actual revenge is more than anything. So, but players and coaching staffs are pretty good at kind of using the emotions and the energy, to help themselves out in that regard. But I just don't think it's funny because I'm already putting myself in this week 1 mindset, and it's always hard to know exactly because as much as I try my best to try to think about like the conversations and the energy behind these games, it is different. And I've said this in all my schedule videos, like it is May right now, and it's hard to really put yourself in the feeling of what it's like when it's September and everyone's talking about it. We all feel it. We all feel the beginning and the energy of the season, and games are flying around, and we just oh my God, you see the Chiefs, they just dominated who so-and-so, and oh my God, did you just see the Bears? Caleb Williams looked amazing. And it's like everything's kind of starts flying all over the place, and that kind of heightens everything. And I just remember last season, I kind of downplay, especially the beginning of the season, and even some of these matchups early on, even if they're division or if it's against the Bills. Like it's just, it's you got to look at it again through multiple lenses and kind of figure out what does this stuff mean. And in week 1, it only can mean so much. I don't think it means a tremendous amount, and I feel as though I fell into that trap last season when the Ravens were playing the Chiefs, and I remember thinking I need to see the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson ball out and beat the Chiefs. And I think there's some truth to that because of how last season unfolded. The season before that, how they lost, and it just was not a pretty game, quite frankly, the 17-10 game in the AFC Championship game. But I really kind of evolved past that, and I'm just kind of like, I don't necessarily need to see a win or loss. I just need to see some pretty high quality play. But I'm okay not seeing super high quality play in week 1 as well. It's like if Lamar Jackson has a game where he throws 3 interceptions in week 1, I'm not going to be like, oh God, do the Bills just have Lamar's number? Like, is he ever going to be able to beat the Bills in the playoffs? Like, I'm not going to think that way either. So it's a weird situation. Like when the Chiefs played the Bills, that meant so much more later in the season because the Bills were trying to establish themselves of like, we are truly a great team. This year is going to be different. As well as the Chiefs were undefeated. That game actually mattered so much more to me than compared if it was like week 1, 2, or 3. So it's you kind of have to just wait and see how it unfolds. Now, it will be more interesting, and this is why it's also always interesting to look back on the schedule after enough games have played, because let's say they lose to the Bills, the Lions, and the Chiefs, but they beat the Browns, the Texans, the Rams, and the Bears and the Dolphins, then you're kind of like, all right, they're winning a lot of these, easier games, so to speak, but they lost to the Lions, the Bills, and the Chiefs, and those 3 teams are the first seed, the second seed, and the first seed or whatever. And you're like, all right, what does that mean for the Ravens? Are they on their level? Was it just too early on in the season? Are they catching their stride now? Like, you have to wait for some more games to be played to really understand. So when you ask a question like this, an emotional question, should Baltimore be happy for the chance of revenge? And it's like, well, it really depends on how the first 2 months unfold for the Ravens, honestly. So, it's a little bit more of a manufactured question, honestly, more than anything. But from someone who wants the entertainment, like, I'm all for it. Opening the season with the Ravens versus the Chiefs last season was awesome. I mean, I loved that. I was excited. That was exciting. And now you have the Bills, versus the Ravens, and it's going to be boosted up. And we always know every year there's always the conversations about who would you rather have as the quarterback, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Who's the better quarterback, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow? Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? And so we get that out the gate, right? Week 1, we get to have that conversation and go in circles and circles and circles with it from the jump. So I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, the final statement that I'll say is, it ultimately matters less from my viewpoint. And I just look at the Ravens where it's like, you're either an elite team, you're either truly a top team in the NFL, or you're not. And if you are, then it doesn't matter. If you're not, if you're an in-betweener, well then yes, all of these little things, exactly when you're playing each team, what does the meaning have behind all of it? Yeah, then that stuff can start to matter significantly more. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens 2025 schedule? Do you think this is a revenge game? Do you think it matters? Do you think it helps or hurts the Baltimore Ravens? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.